Hello, friends and enemies. It's me, V, and I am making a video. I will be making several videos, in fact, that talk about the problematic things that I've done. It's been a long time coming. Has to be done. Not because someone's framing me or saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna blackmail you." No, it's been a lot of stuff that I've been thinking about, especially during this quarantine. And the main reason I'm doing it is because I was on Facebook. I know, right? Facebook, it's still a thing. I was on Facebook, and one of my friends, he listed his childhood trauma, like all the things that had happened to him, and said, I am saying this because I realize I have been toxic. I have taken what has happened to me as a child, abuse at the hands of his parents and everything, mental and physical abuse, and I have then used that against other people. I've seen some of the stuff that he's done. He's told me stuff that he's done, and he's been like, that was shitty of me to do. And it made me think about the things that I have done. Now, for me personally, I've been trying to make amends since 2015. Now, before I begin and say what happened, I just want to let you know this will deal with sexual assault, attempted rape, and rape as well. If you're triggered, if it brings up memories for you, please do not continue. Please stop this video, go somewhere else. I'm not kidding. Because I don't want to add to someone's trauma. So again, right now, if rape, the talk of rape, sexual assault, and attempted sexual assault, like it makes you go like, oh my gosh, stop it now. I will wait. Okay. Now, in 2015, in September, it actually happened in September, believe it or not, I was with two people. One, I will call Davie. These are not their real names. Davie, who I had a crush on at the time, and Michael. I had known Michael since elementary school. We were friends. We were really close. And I always had this thought process in my mind, like, and this is for anybody. If you're a friend of mine and I see something happening to you, I am going to defend you from that bad thing happening. Like if I, when people started shit with Michael, I'd be like, hey, don't do it. I may join in, but then I would stop and be like, hey, you shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. We had was a close relationship, but not that close because I went to a different high school, then a different college, ended up meeting him by chance and was like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. So, that's how I knew Michael. We hung out, we drank a lot. We would drink a lot. And when I say a lot, it's from 2014 to September. We would just drink. Every Thursday and Friday, we would meet and we would drink. If I didn't work, or even after work on Saturdays at Target, we would just go and drink. And it was some of the most fun, messiest times that I had. That being said, September 2015 was different. This particular day, there was Davie, Michael, and myself. They had been drinking. I went to go pee. I found a place because we went to this bar. I went back and was just waiting for them because they were supposed to get shots and then, bring it to me or whatever. And about 5 minutes passed. So I'm like, where the fuck are they? So I go looking for them at this bar, and they are drunk. Now I'm drunk, but I'm still functional. So I'm like, okay, hey, let's go. Let's go. We leave the bar. Through talking to them, because I'm like, you guys need food. I find out that Davie and Michael have had 12 shots each, plus the drinks that we had. And by drinks, I mean like the actual regular drinks. So they had a couple of beers or whatever. Now Davie is 115 wet. Michael is 6'2", 6'3", big tall guy. You can't miss him. He's also sloppy when he's drunk. I'm sloppy when I'm drunk, but not to what I saw. We head back to Michael's place where Davie's staying at, and Michael's like, go home, Veronica. I'm like, no, I'll stay. Because something in my gut is saying, you need to stay. So I stay. And my phone is almost dead. Like it's on 15%. So I'm looking at it. I was looking at Facebook, in fact, when I hear, you're killing me, Smalls. So I go, what the fuck is that? I get up. I go into the bathroom and I see Davie is puking his guts out. And Michael is standing over him. And he has his pants off. And he looks like he's trying to fuck Davie. And I'm still drunk, but I'm drunk to at least where I'm like, ayo, my fight or flight kicks in. I'm like, ayo. I grab Davie. I actually push Michael off. I get Davie. I bring him into the living room. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then they say, I don't know what's going on. But then when I keep talking to him, I keep pushing him. That's when Davie mentions that this has been going on, that he has had to sleep with Michael because he doesn't have a place. And Michael is like, yeah, I've done it. Who cares? And it then becomes apparent that Michael was trying to rape Davie. Number one of where I fucked up. You know how I've said I always would, defend my friends. I've always thought that if my friends were being raped or something, I would fight for them. But I never thought about it. What if they were the accuser? Or not the accuser. If they were the person that was doing it. And that's where then it became oh no. And the selfish part of me thought of three things. Number one, I will get in trouble because I'm drunk. All of us were of age, but all I could think is the cops would be like, why are you doing this and blah, blah, blah. Number two, I selfishly thought, well, if Michael's bad, what does that mean to me? Because I'm close friends with Michael. So obviously, if Michael is a rapist, that must mean that I'm a rapist sympathizer, and I'm not. So I need to protect Michael. And also number three, I've known Michael the longest, maybe it was just one time. And, Michael really wouldn't do that because I know him. We're close. I know him. He would tell me if he would do this stuff. That was the fucked up shit that I thought in my head, that went through my head. And instead of me saying to the person, like I even said to Davie, like, do you want to go to the cops? And Davie's like, no. So I leave Davie in the house. Number two of where I fucked up. I left Davie in the house with Michael. Both of them still very much drunk. The next day. And this is, and I will admit, as soon as I got in my car, I texted and then called my best friend and was like, what the fuck do I do? Because all three of us were close. All three of us were close at the time. And she was like, look, what do you want to do? You should call the cops. But I cannot tell you what to do. What do you feel is the best bet? I am driving away from the situation. I am breaking down crying as I'm talking to her like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And she's like, you can call the cops and have them come. But I'm thinking, I'll get him in trouble. And I don't want to get my best friend in trouble. And I'm telling her this. And she's like, look, dude, you saw with your own eyes what he was about to do. You need to tell somebody. But if you don't, It's up to you. I cannot tell you what to do. But you saw him do something. Do you want to call the cops? I'm like, do you want to come? She's like, two of us, we're both under 5'5", and you want us to go back to the house where this big ass man could have all sorts of weird stuff in his house, and you want us to defuse it. And she was trying her best to tell me, call the cops. But I didn't want to get the cops involved because, again, I thought that I knew Michael. The day after, I went and texted him and was like, what's going on? He was like, I was super drunk. I didn't know what was going on, blah, 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 feeding me bullshit. Now that I'm sober, I'm remembering all the things he said to me. He talked about how Davie left his stuff at the house, how Davie was doing all these different things, and he was putting Davie in this really shitty light. How Davie was an asshole and all these different things. And I was thinking to myself, I'm not really close friends with Davie, but talking to Davie, he doesn't seem, that much of an asshole. He would mention like, oh, Davie can't pay me rent, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, maybe Michael, I'm still thinking of all the stuff that he said. I'm like, Michael must be right. But then talking to Davie mentioned, well, I tried to pay him. He was like, no. And then he woke me up one day and was like, I'm going to throw you out unless you don't suck my dick. And then I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? No, Michael couldn't do that. But then talking to Davie, he started telling me all these different things. And here's the thing. When you're presented with the information, you then have to make a choice. Hopefully you make the right choice, which is, I need to tell the cops. Instead, where I fucked up number 3, I was like, let's not tell the cops. Because my brain sympathized with Davie, but I still did not want Michael to go to jail because I know Michael and I was fearful for him. And that's the thing I think that secretly we do not look at and say, okay, why are we so quick to say, this guy is my friend, I know him. I'm not saying it because I know some of you are like, oh, is this because your friend mentioned stuff, blah, blah, blah? No, my friend didn't. He has mentioned things that have happened to him, and I'm going to call that friend Ben. Ben, with his post of him saying, like, I had a toxic childhood and blah, 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 I acknowledge the horrible shit that I've done. It just made me think of this story and this situation that happened and how I didn't react because I didn't want to lose a friendship, even though I knew he was a terrible person, because I was also trying to remember the good that we had. And my brain was doing mental backflips trying to say, well, but he did this, so why do you want to, screw up a friendship, that's been 20 plus years. You guys have been friends for blah, blah, blah. He's been through this and that and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. Every time it's staring off, you're like, what is she looking at? I'm just remembering more and more shit that happened. I'm replaying in my mind right now all the different things. And I remember telling people this when it happened. I'm like, why is Davie not saying anything? And I realize now more than ever that you don't want people to look at you in a different way. And I'm just realizing that Davie trusted me, and my brain went to my friend at the time. Even though I'm now remembering a lot of shit that that friend had done to me. I remember when we went to Seattle, and this is before it was the same year, 2015. We went in August, and I said to him, okay, Michael, here's what we're going to do. Here are the places I want to go to. You don't even have to worry about the hotel. You just pay your airfare and we're good. The first thing he did when we got there, I had the rental car in my name. I say to the woman, I'm going to get this car, blah, blah, blah. She then turns to him and says, well, we could get you a bigger one because I don't think you'll be able to drive this other one. The bigger one was $20+. And I'm like, I really don't think. And he's like, no, we should listen to her. We should listen to her. Now, while I'm at the counter, the bitch has never once looked at me. She is talking to him as if I don't fucking exist, even though it's underneath my name and my insurance at the time. I'm thinking about the times when we went to the many different places that I wanted to go, and he's a vegetarian, but he doesn't eat vegetables. So a lot of the vegetarian places that I'm like, hey, we could go here. He's like, nah, I don't really want it. We went to this authentic, I remember that there was it was a authentic Chinese place where they had all these different foods. He's like, no, I don't like it because, I don't like it, blah, blah, blah. And he gave this really shitty excuse for it. And I tried his meal. It was fucking delicious. And we ended up going to a sub shop because that's the only place where he could eat the food because he had to have vegetarian. But he took out the Brussels sprouts. He took out the tomatoes. He took out all this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? We went to Pike Place where I had wanted to go. And we couldn't go there. We went to Seattle and I paid extra money for this fucking car that this bitch told me to get. Because this jackass said we should go and do that. That motherfucker paid me $20. He's like, here's $20 for it. I paid $20 each fucking day. We were there for a week. We go to these museums. He was done in 5 minutes and was like, I want to go. I said to him, let's split up, meet back at this time. No, he didn't want to do that. I am remembering all of this, so I'm extra pissed at myself for picking his ass when Davie hadn't done shit to me. Davie was fine. He was, and the reason I look at that, I'm like, I picked an asshole because I had known him the longest and because I felt like, I owed him something. When someone's shitty and you notice a pattern of them being shitty, don't pick them. But again, that probably has to do with trauma, because we both had been picked on in elementary. That's essentially how we met. We both had to deal with trauma of being molested as kids. Although I will say my experience was not what his came out to be. His was, and here's the sick part. I know my brain is jumping around everywhere, and I'm just remembering more and more shit as I'm telling this story. My mentor mentioned that they were doing this thing or whatever, and he read the novel that Michael had, and he essentially said it was about someone who had been raped, and then that person went on to rape other people. And essentially said something along the lines of, well, you got to do what you can to get ahead in life. I remember hearing that, and I remember thinking, wow, that's really fucked up. But I don't think I actually realized that until now. Even when, and this is because Davie had his own best friend. I do remember I still was talking to Michael, and then I just stopped contact. Because I was like, you were toxic, you were a fuckface, fuck you. And he's like, you got a lot of nerve. I remember his last things to me. He was like, you got a lot of nerve. I defended I defended you against all my friends and this and that when they said you were weird and creepy, no, and odd and whatever. I defended you. And he like blocked me because I unfriended him on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And I remember he blocked me because I unblocked him on something. And he blocked me. And I remember I talked to Davie's best friend and said, this is what's been going on with your best friend. So Davie's best friend was like, oh my goodness. He stepped in and he was helping Davie move out. And as he was helping Davie move out, because I was at Target at the time, and I said, like, keep me in the loop of what's going on and blah, blah, blah. He said that Davie opened up to him about what was happening because I didn't know it at the time. Michael decided that he was going to become owner of this group or thing that they had. Davie and his best friend had a thing that were, I don't know the logistics of it, but they had something that was going on, and Michael decided he was going to take over for it. And Davie said, okay, and kind of was letting it happen. And then when I talked to Davie's best friend, he's like, I was wondering why the fuck that happened, that son of a bitch. So he got in, he did the stuff and everything. And by doing the stuff, I mean, he made sure that he was taking shit out that was Davie's and was like, we're getting you out of that house of horrors. And he said to Michael, why did you do it? Michael was like, he more or less was like, it's not that big of a deal. He seemed to equate it to, you do what you got to do, and power. And I think about that a lot. And this meandering thing that I'm trying to say is, as much as people love to say, well, people lie, and people tell stories, and this and that, you got to realize sometimes the people are telling the fucking truth. The majority of people are telling the fucking truth. But your brain doesn't want to think of it like my brain. My brain tried so hard because I had known this person the longest and I didn't want to look at that. So I focused on only the positives versus the shit that he had shown me, which was a mountain hill of shit that I didn't want to think about. And you need to do that sometimes. Sometimes you need to remember things. And you need to go and say, like, hey, this shit happened to another person. I can't just mentally say, well, no, because I know this person. You have to look at the shit that they've done to you and be like, hey, wait, they did that shit. I remember we went to this one place. We went out of state. And he said to me in front of some people, he said, you need to pay me for, because you're here and it's not for free. I already knew I was going to pay him for, he got the hotel and parking, and I already had thought, like, hey, I need to pay him for it, blah, blah, blah. Because I had talked to my mom about it. And this was like 6 months? 6 months before it happened, 6 months. My brain feels jumbled, but these are all the things that I am remembering, and I'm so sorry that I didn't present this better. I had to say it because I see it happening where people are like, oh, wow, I believe my friend. And it's like, sometimes you can't believe your friend. Sometimes your friend won't show you that dark side of themselves. Sometimes they'll show it to you, but then they'll tell you that you were imagining it, or they'll tell you, like, it wasn't that bad. And you remember it was bad. You remember when they purposely got you drunk to the point you were blackout drunk. I remember that now, where when I was with Michael, we were drinking and I liked this guy and Michael knew I liked this guy. And I don't think Michael liked that I liked this guy. I think Michael liked our friendship and he just felt like I would leave him or something. I don't know. Because what he did is he gave me another shot and was like, come on. And I said, I have to eat food because I hadn't had any food. He's like, oh, come on. One more drink won't hurt you. And I took a drink and it was like this ginger shot. that I specifically remember him saying that he gave to another friend that caused that person to shit themselves. And he was laughing about it. In fact, he was laughing about it a few months before he gave me that shot. So he knew what it would do. And then I got blackout drunk and was puking my guts out. And he said to the guy that I liked, "I'm sorry she's such a mess." And he did it to another girl too, because she was flirting with this guy that she liked. What was her name? Alicia? Casey and Alicia. Because Alicia liked Casey. And he did not like the fact that all three of us came together and she was talking to somebody else. He does not like to share friends. I'm remembering now. He does not like to share friends. He does not like to share people. He likes to have people close to him, and he's single, and he doesn't like it when we find people, and he doesn't like it, and that's problematic. And I'm problematic for not agreeing with fucking Davie, and I am sorry, Davie. If you are watching this, I am sorry to anybody who's been raped, who has been sexually assaulted and everything, because that is not good. And memory is so weird, because I'm talking to you right now and I'm just remembering everything that's going on. And I know that there is a lot of stuff I left out. And I know that there's a lot of stuff that my brain purposely was like, hey, we are not going to allow you to remember everything. Because I know I wrote it down in one of my journals. I wrote down everything because I was drunk and I just wrote out everything that happened. I don't know where the journal is right now, but I know there were a lot of things that I forgot. And I think that's what quarantine is doing right now. It is reminding us of all the trauma that we have gone through and all the things that we have done. Because we were remembering everything because we're in isolation. And I guess my thing to anybody who is watching this, I am sorry. And I think also, I know I also didn't want to talk about him, because if I said to Michael, like, hey, what you're doing is problematic, it would also shine a light on the stuff that I did, which was when I was drunk, I would pinch guys' butts because I thought it was funny. Or I'd be like, oh, sleep with me, to a guy because I thought that was cute. And he'd be like, no. And I'd be like, oh, you're stuck. You're no fun. And trying to manipulate them. And that's gross. That's so fucking gross. What? To anybody who's still watching this, do not pinch people's butts. Do not. It's not funny. It's not cute. I know you think, oh, it's empowering as a woman. It's not. It's gross. It's disgusting. I am remembering so much. I don't like that part of me. That past part. She was gross and toxic. I don't like it at all. So don't do it. If you're like, oh, I'm going to flirt with this guy and he's not interested, but I'm going to continue to flirt with him and, try to be desperate, don't do it. Just leave him alone. Leave him alone. That's all I can say. Just leave him alone. I'm going to let you guys go because I'm remembering a lot, and it's kind of scary, because it's good to remember everything, but it's also scary because you're getting all these images and everything. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I will talk to you later.